So over here I am given a array of positive number called nums, and I need to select a subset nums which satisfies the following. So it says you can place the elements in zero indexed array such that it follows the pattern x squared x ki power 4 up till x ki power k, then it goes down to x. Now I'll give you an example. So assuming we we need to select, so given nums we need to select something like x squared x raised to powered 4 dot x powered k, and again it goes down x powered 4 x squared and x. I need to select something like this, and I need to return the maximum number of elements in a subset that satisfies this condition. Okay, so over here as we can see, if we select 2 4 and 2, so this will be 2 4 and then comes 2, so this would satisfy the condition. So I will show you how to solve this. So we have got 5 4 1 2 and 2. Okay, so my first step over here is to build the frequency map. Okay, so I build a map called mp. This is the key value. The value over here will be the frequency. Okay, so if we make this, so 5 occurs once, 4 occurs only once, 1 occurs once. However, this 2 occurs twice. Okay, so let this be there. Now there's another thing to notice. Okay, so if we have got only once in our only once in our frequency map, so let us say this is an example. Okay, then we'll come back to the original question. Let us say we have got this 3 1, so we can arrange it as this is 1 followed by 1 and this leading to 1. So this is perfect. However, if we got these as 4, we couldn't do 1. This is not valid in our situation. The valid would be 1 1 and 1. So out of these 4, only 3 would be valid. So what we do, we put a check. Okay, so in our check what we will do, if my, so I'll write it somewhere here. If my count of 1 is there, that means it is true. So I update my answer as, if my map of 1 modulo 2, that means this is even. So in that case I would say my mp of 1 minus 1, that is I would make it odd, since only odd will give me a perfect pyramid or triangle kind of structures. Otherwise I will keep it as odd. Okay, so let me go back and solve the question again. Sorry. Okay, now I come back to the question again. So what we do, I've got this unordered map over here. So I start with my x. I start with my x as 5. Okay, so my current over here is equal to 5 and my length as of now for the answer is 0. I check how many 5s are present. So it says only 1. So I can give my answer as 5. Okay, so I do length plus plus, so my length is updated to 1. In that case I go and check. So for me to have something more than 5, for instance if I have 5 25 and 5. If I need to make a pyramid like this, the count of 5 over here should be more than 1. Since it is only 1, I won't be able to create a pyramid of 5. In that case, I would simply return. Now my x is equal to 4 and my current is equal to 4 and length is initially set to 0. I check is my 4 present in my map. So it says yes, 4 is present. However, the count of 4 is 1. So again, I would like to reiterate, if I have to make a pyramid starting with 4, then in that case, I should have at least 2 4s. However, this is not true. So in this case, what I do, in this case, I update my length of possible answer as 1, since an answer like 4 would be valid. Again, I go ahead. So my x is updated to 1. So in case of 1, I will simply continue, since I would have handled it over here in this case. Now I get to 2. So this is the important part where you should focus. So I get x is equal to 2 and my current is equal to 2. Initially my length is set to 0. So I check what's the count of 2. So if I go here, I see I've got two 2's. So my condition, which was if they have got 1, I would not be able to create this. So if I have got two 2's, in that case I will be able to create a pyramid something like this. Okay, so what I do, I create something called next. So my next would be current multiplied by current. So this is 2 multiplied by 2, which goes to 4. Now I check again, hey, is 4 available in my map? So it says yes. Now I update my length as length plus 2, since I have got 2 over here and something bigger than 2, that is 4 as well, is present. So I update my length as 2. Okay, now I go and check for 4. So my current now over here is updated to 4. So I check what's the frequency of 4. Okay, so my map says the frequency of 4 is only 1. So my length will be updated as length plus 1. So this will be 3, since I have got only 1 4. If I have to go on to further create the pyramid, in that case I should have more than 1 4's. Okay, so after coming out over here, I have iterated over all elements. Okay, then my answer would be the maximum of these length. So my maximum of these length, this would be my answer. So I return 3. So over here 3 is the answer. So my first step here will be to store the frequency of each number. So I create a mutable hash map. So I do hash map of type i64, i32. Okay, since I have used hash map, I will import hash map from the standard library. So I say use standard collections hash map. Okay, now what I do, I iterate through every element in the input array. So for and x that belongs to nums, in that case I increase the frequency of x. Okay, so I do mp dot entry x as i64 dot or insert this as 0 or 1. Okay, so now I create an answer, that is, since my minimum possible answer is 1, that is choosing any single element. So I say let mutable answer is equal to 1. Post that I check if the number 1 exists in the map. So I say if let sum and count. Okay, so if my count of 1, okay, so if my count of 1 exists, so I only an odd number of ones can be form a valid pattern. So what I do, I say answer is equal to if count modulo 2 is equal to 0. In that case, I put this as count minus 1. This will turn into odd. Otherwise, I do it as count. Okay. So now I need to try every distinct number as the starting value. So I do for auto. So this is the key and the value. So this is in map.iterator. Okay. So if my x is equal to 1, that we have already handled. So we skip this because it has been handled previously. So now I create a mutable variable called current, which is initialized to x, that is current value in the power chain. Then I do let mutable length is equal to 0. So this will store the length of the valid sequence built so far. Now I run this while loop. So while my map contains this current, okay, so continue, I need to continue while the current value exists in the map, and I say the count of the current value. So this will be mp.get and current. Okay, post that if my count is equal to 1, that is only one copy exists. In that case, my length plus equal to 1, that is, it must be the peak of the pattern, and I break here. Okay, because I stop extending the chain. Otherwise, if my count is not 1, so I say let my next be defined as current multiplied by current. So I compute the next value, the square of the current. So if my map does not contain this next, okay, in that case I use the current value as the peak. So I say length plus equal to 1, and I simply break. Post that. So I've checked two conditions. In my first condition, if my count of current is 1, that means the current becomes the peak. Otherwise, if assuming this is 2 or 3, then I go for next. So I check for next. So my next will be current multiplied by current. So if my map does not contain current, in that case, if my map doesn't contain next, in that case my current remains the peak. So I do length plus equal to 1 and then break. Okay, now my third case, okay, my third case will be wherein I use the two copies of the current value, one on each side of the peak. So I do length plus equal to 2, and then I update my current is equal to next. Okay, and after coming out from this while loop, I need to update my answer. So my answer will be answer dot, I need to find the max of answer and length. Then I return my answer. Okay, over here I simply return my answer. I got some error. So let mutable answer is equal to 1 if let sum and cnt map dot get. Okay, let me put this as and 1. So if this exists, if the one exists in the map.